The Mini 3 Pro in terms of price sits on the prosumer DJI line between the Mini 2 and the Air 2S. It has a host of features, practically the same as the Air 2S, plus a brand new exciting one, vertical video and photos. For many users, the excellent features of the new model justify the extra price compared to the Mini 2, even if the image quality was the same. Other users want to know if the image quality can match the one of the Air 2S. The Mini 3 Pro has also to face the competition of the Autel Nano Plus, more or less at the same price, which offers very limited functionalities, but it is a favorite of many regarding image quality. In this video I will analyze how good the Mini 3 Pro is in terms of photography. This bad boy can shoot photos at a real resolution of 12 megapixels. But it is equipped with a Bayer quad sensor able to split each pixel into 4 smaller ones, therefore achieving a sort of 48 megapixel resolution. In the menu we have a choice between the single photo at 12 megapixel or the 48 megapixel mode. When shooting photos in single mode, a sort of HDR is applied using the dual ISO capabilities, like for video up to 30 frames per second. It is also possible to shoot 3 or 4 shots in auto exposure bracketing and in interval shooting. I really like DJI Fly interface. We can access all settings relative to photos or video in just one window. But in this version there is something that DJI has got completely wrong. The exposure settings for each individual photo mode are sticky, and this doesn't make any sense. Let's suppose I'm taking an automatic bracketed exposure shot in very bright condition. I expose, take my shot, and then I want to take a single photo. The exposure settings are not updated from my previous shot, but from the last time I shot a single photo. So I have to expose again. The same if I want to shoot a 48 megapixel photo or a panorama, and so on. This is very annoying. Please DJI, simply update all the exposure settings to my last photo for all the different modes. It makes sense to assume that my next shot will be in the same light conditions. Let's say that now I want to shoot a top-down shot, which requires very different exposure values. Once again I have to expose for every single mode. Useless. Let's watch some images taken in easy light conditions. But first, let me point out that I am not sponsored by DJI or any other brands. I buy all the gear I use and I don't even receive it in advance, like many other YouTubers. I only get a tiny commission when someone buys using one of the links in the description. This applies to DJI, Autel and any other brand. I analyze the gear according to my impressions while using the product, and I believe that I should point out to potential buyer any negative about a specific model. I stand my ground and I don't have to report to any manufacturers, only to my community. In my video about footage quality, I noticed an issue with crash shadows, poor dynamic range, and low light performance way below par. I will post a link at the end of this one. Watching these still images, the shadows look much better, and I can recover a lot more of them in post-processing. This is good news, as it means that the issue with footage is not due to the camera, but rather to software processing, which could be possible to fix by firmware. The colors look nice and organic, without any major cast. They respond very well to color grading. In images containing a clear sky, there is an area in the middle with higher luminosity and a slight magenta cast. It is due to the fact that my raw processing software doesn't have yet a profile for the lens of the new drone, but nothing to worry about. Performance in good light is good, certainly a big improvement compared to the Mini 2, which I really like for footage, but is in my opinion weak for photography. One weakness that I notice is that elements quite far away behind the foreground don't have much detail. It should not be due to focusing, since the elements at about 20 meters of distance are in focus, everything behind them should also be so. Maybe it's due to the very wide aperture of the lens. Let's see if we obtain better results with the 48 megapixel photos. Well, probably the detail at the same zoom level is ever so slightly better with the 48 megapixel mode. But as we will soon later, under different conditions there are some issues using this mode. Also, consider that the 48 megapixel file put a big strain on the graphic card of the computer. As usual, let me know your opinion about the quality of photos in the description below. By tilting the camera down, we take the sky out of the equation and can concentrate on detail and color rendition. The Mini 2 is not a detailed beast, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. The image is well balanced and doesn't jump to the eyes because of over-sharpening. The colors are very natural and engaging. Here we have the single photo compared to the 48 megapixel one. And it is hard to notice a difference in detail. Only when zooming in we notice a touch more on the 48 megapixel one. I've never been a big fan of vertical video, but the ability to shoot photos in vertical format is great. And opens up a lot of creative opportunities. In vertical video, the Mini 3 has a big tendency to crush the shadows, worse than in other video formats. But in vertical still images, the results are in my opinion excellent. I love this feature and can't wait to try a full sphere panorama with shots in vertical mode, in order to get a bigger portion of the sky. Images shot in the direction of the sun are the most difficult for a drone, as the dynamic range is huge. Here the full sun is in the image as sunrise. Let's start by exposing to optimize the sun and the sky, leaving the ground as a silhouette. The result is excellent, with no flare around the sun and a very good structure of the sky. The lenses of the cameras have improved a lot in the last DJI generation. If we try to raise the shadows and recover some detail in the elements in the ground, the result is not very good. There is a bit of chromatic noise and aberrations, and the town by the sea has no detail whatsoever. The same image shot in 48 megapixels shows tons of chromatic noise. Totally unusual, and this is something that happens all the time we shoot in this format in high dynamic range situations. Back to the drawing board. If we take the same scene in bracketed shots and then merge it with HDR, we obtain better results, in this case with only 3 shots. Let's see another example, this time taken with 5 shots. Much better. So against the sun, the Mini 3 performs quite well, while the vertical photos looks very good in my opinion. In low light conditions, the Mini 3 puts up an excellent performance. It is amazing to see how much the last generation of the Mavic line has improved in the last couple of years. Noise is a thing of the past, and once again the vertical shot looks amazing. For photography, the Mini 3 is a big step forward compared to the Mini 2. It doesn't quite get to the level of the R2S, which remains a fantastic performer, But this is just the first firmware for this model, and DJI has a track record of improving image quality in the following firmware update. So probably some further improvements are to be expected. Wow, what a rant I had before. I must have lost my British aplomb. Click on this link to watch my video about footage quality with the Mini 3, but a warning, it might contain traces of controversy. Don't forget to hit the like button if you find this video interesting. Thank you.